All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ Podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. This is a Kiss-related podcast by the board, for the board. We hope that you enjoy. Welcome to episode 286.
Yes.
Second attempt. We did record an episode last week. Unfortunately, there were some technical issues that made that episode unable to be aired. So we will revisit that topic in the future, and hopefully, catch up on it. Let's get into some news quickly from the week, or from past week, is Eric Carr's niece was going to be starring in a... Mark, do you remember? She was going to be starring in a play.
Yeah, it was right by Ken, apparently, right?
Yeah, in Lafayette. So Sara Jean is her name. And let me just see if I can find this text. I'm unprepared. I'm sorry. It's going to be running through the 21st. It opened last week, and it sounds like a really cool thing at Lafayette, this theater. And I'll post the details for it since I'm so unprepared today. I'm of course drinking my election juice for Thursday at home in Britain, where I'm disenfranchised from voting. So I'll be watching the results of that later. The other thing I meant to mention last week is that Tommy Thayer's Epiphone, the new blue sparkle one, what's it called? The electric blue, has is available for pre-order at Reverb, and it's just $700, and it's a really good piece of gear for someone who may not be able to afford a Les Paul or get into the Les Paul kind of range. Very well spec'd out. I've got the Spaceman, which was the first signature guitar he had, and it plays like a monster. Well,
there is a video on YouTube too if you want to check it out. He does play it and he talks about it online.
Yeah, so it's a lot of guitar for the money, and it also looks really good if you get one signed by him in silver Sharpie. Looks really nice, and it's probably one of the more affordable single-member, kind of interactions that you can purchase on the tour, along with Eric Singer's drum heads. So both very good things that you can get. I don't think there's any other news. Mark, you just released your Christmas EP, and I was pinging you on that. You've got a really groovy song on there that immediately turned my head. So congratulations on it. What was the title of that one? The Mad Dash?
Yeah, the Mad Dash. Basically, thanks, Julian, about that. Basically, it's my little attempt at a Christmas EP, sort of a short story where, you know the story. All of us can kind of relate to being last minute shoppers at one point in our life, and it's just like the story of the last minute shopper and his 4 phases of shopping: waking up in the morning, the car ride to the mall, the mad dash through the toy section, which is the part that Julian seems to like quite a lot, and then the getting home and sitting by the fireplace, drinking either a glass of whiskey or whatever it is, and chilling out after your crazy day. So yeah, if people want to check it out, it's on Bandcamp. That actually brings me to one other thing. This is a good segue. On my Bandcamp site, if you go there now, you'll find this album, which is the one I did last, Man of Science, Man of Dreams. You can buy it right now till the end of the year for just $10. $10. I'm pretty much just trying to clear out my remaining copies of this one, and I only have a couple of copies left of a Brand New Day, the record before this. So both albums on vinyl are available for $10, and it's colored vinyl, so that's like a deal and a half. So if you haven't gotten a copy of that, then by all means go to my Bandcamp site, projectgemini.bandcamp.com.
Yeah, and it's also really good music. If that's a factor for you, it's worth it.
Well, yes.
So not just that it's pretty colored vinyl. Good music. And talking of vinyl, though, what did you guys think of the Kiss? They're unloading their Kissteria box sets, surplus stock. So that what they've done is they've gone in. Gene and Paul have signed the road cases. They have put in a couple of prints from the tour, a nice, it looks like an 8x10 of Gene and one of Paul. Very nice pictures, probably taken by Keith, who does, he gets great position and freedom to roam to get the really nice shots. And then they've slapped, what is it, $2,500 now for the, but it's the last 30 sets. So Daniel, what do you think about that? Is that like a selling point, or are you just like, oh my God, they will do anything?
Well, it's not the one with all the CDs or all the vinyls.
Vinyl.
Yeah, vinyl. Yeah, I guess if you're a vinyl guy, but still, I'm sounding like an old record. It's still the same records that we already have, and so on and so forth. So to me, it doesn't do anything. But I'm sure some fans will enjoy it, and 30 sets, I guess they will sell all of those. And it's nice that they take some time and sign them and so on. But yeah, not for me.
Cool way to get rid of them, especially when, I mean, come on, how many copies of the albums have all of us bought collectively?
Yeah.
Can you still actively collect? I mean, did you get Kissteria? I don't remember.
I did get it. I think I ordered it on the evening of the first day it was available. So I'm one of the early people, and I saw that they were going to sell these last 30. I'm like, and they're signing. I'm like, I'd said that they lost $750 from me because I bought it at the lower price originally. I said if they would have signed them up front, I think they would have sold faster. Say if they sold, signed 100 or so, those 100 would have gone real fast at the beginning. Mm-hmm. Where what was it? They came out in 2014. Right, it's 5 years.
Yep.
It took 5 years to sell 1,000 of these things, supposedly, or almost. It's not sold out, obviously, yet. So I think they should have. If they would have sold them with the signature, they could have charged a little more. I would have paid a little bit more for that, I think.
The only thing I'd buy is the photo from the Revenge Era lineup. I think it looked kind of cool. Isn't there a photo of the Revenge Era lineup in the?
I think so.
Set? Yeah, I think so.
I haven't looked at it in a while, but I'm sure there is.
It's a real cool picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark, your thoughts on it, and then we'll get into today's topics.
Well, I mean, I didn't get it. To me, it's, being an independent musician, $2,500, I can do a lot with that. In fact, pressing my next album on vinyl is probably close to that amount, right? So I think I'd rather spend it on that. Plus, oh yeah, there you go. And I like to, I collect the albums too. So I don't feel guilty about passing on Kissteria because I have 15 copies of Rock and Roll Over, 17 copies of the first record. So I think that they'll be more than happy with my contribution to their whole catalog overall. And I have bought all the reissues too. So I just didn't get them in the Kissteria box. That's all. Mind you, I would love to get some of the added posters that were in there as well. But yeah, if it was a little bit cheaper, but that's, again, I'm not knocking anybody who's buying it. I just can't afford it just in the situation that I'm in. If I won the lotto or something, sure, I would have dove on it. But can I just show something really quick before we start on the topic? I did get. I've always been the one who's never had something. Whenever you've asked, did you buy anything this week? And I'm always like, no, I didn't get anything. So this week I actually have something that I actually got for once. First, I want to show this. I'm a big Bowie fan, and I love Mick Ronson. I finally got this.
That's
on awesome. yellow vinyl.
Mick fucking Ronson. Oh my God.
I love the man. He's fantastic.
Oh my God, yes.
He is. I can honestly say that between Alex Lifeson and Paul Gilbert, who started me in my formative stages, and Tony Iommi as an influence, Mick Ronson has really shaped me as a player lately and in my later times of guitar playing. And I got to give a big prop and shout out to a person that's on my page, Stephen Dill. He helped me out for Black Friday and got me the Frank Zappa 10-inch of Peaches and Regalia. This is the special mono mix that he did a long time ago that was never released. So I was really searching for this, and I couldn't find it anywhere here in Canada at all. So he messaged me and said, yeah, I can get it for you. It was limited edition. I got number 2,656. So thank you, Steve, for getting that for me. And that's what I got this week. Yay, I got something.
Nice. I mean, I got a package finally. I have not been to the record store for anything, but a package arrived for me, and it's... sorry about the reflection there. But, so I've got that now in my collection. We also have something else. We're going to do a giveaway this episode. And, E1 has put together some really good packages for Ace Frehley. And, of course, this new EP for Record Store Day was a, E1 exclusive for that day. They've also done the 10th anniversary edition of Anomaly. Now, I wasn't going to buy this, but what I found out about it is that the cover's embossed. And it is really, really nice. It's a gatefold. I'm not going to open this one up because this is actually the one we're going to give away. And what E1 has done for this recent release cycle is their own Ace-signed exclusive editions. And this, of course, comes on yellow vinyl. So we're going to give this away. It's signed by Ace. The way they did these is they do a signed cover. They also give you the actual one that's got the yellow vinyl LP in it. So you actually receive 2 sleeves or jackets for the phrase. So we're going to give this away. And, for anyone who's not had the chance to get it or just wants to win it or flip it, whatever, once it's yours, it's yours. You'll find out during this show how you can win one. So, guys, remind me to tell people how they can remind it when we get into the topics. And then the other thing that I got this week was I often look around for auctions in weird places, and I found an auction for some phonogram stuff from their art archive that was up for sale. And I'm not going to get it out because when this box arrived FedEx yesterday from the auction house, it was like 28 inches long, and you can't even see my hands on the screen because, it was a gigantic box. I'm like, oh shit, what did I buy? And it was actually the triangular Def Leppard logo from the first album that was the master artwork used for the sleeve on the Hello America single, inside the gatefold, in all the ads. And it's like, I think I had it with a tape measure out. The actual original artwork's like 10 inches high, or something on a 12 by 12 sheet. It's gigantic. Very cool. Also comes with a horizontal logo that they did. And I think that's from the High and Dry era. I haven't quite tracked down where it was used, but that's right my wheelhouse for Def Leppard. And it comes with the supporting documentation for the artists who'd done the line coloring. You still see the pencil marks from the design. So like the Kiss logo, it was done with a protractor. But the whole point I'm talking about this is there was a British picture sleeve cover, the original layout for the ARC, the graphic layout on board for Talk to Me. And a test printing of that. So I got both of those. I was like, well chuffed, really pleased. Looking at this, like first print test copy of it, it's on different stock than I remember the other sleeves to been. That was kind of, the production ones I think were on kind of a soft paper that was, frayed at the top. This is on solid, glossy, or semi-gloss stock. But you could also see that there was a gradient to the background. While it's primarily red, it starts orange at the bottom and goes to red at the top, so how it was supposed to look. Just the geek in me, I'm like, oh, wow, that's like neat. No wonder it didn't show up when it actually got printed. But just the stuff you can find out there is the point. I'm not going to tell you where, because I'm hoping there's more stuff from that art archive.
More pops up.
I'm glad people say, well, where did you get it? Like, find it yourself. It's out there. Do the legwork. You never know what you're going to come up with. People find some outrageously cool stuff. I think this is a great example. This is the, for Talk to Me. Okay, that's not as interesting as this is the fucking Def Leppard logo from 1980, along with the bill that shows how much the artist was, and that could go up on my wall. And if I could afford to go to the tour and do the meet and greet and get, Rick, Joe, Sav to sign it, I wouldn't let Phil anywhere near it. Well, it's the 1980s.
Pete Willis.
Then I have to go to Sheffield and find one of his properties and tell him that the sink was broken to get him over there to sign it. But no Steve. Yeah, I thought they'd both make good signings items, but, just cool shit. So always look around. Look in your local ads for estate sales. Stop by garage sales. You never know what you're going to find. This was completely unexpected. So, very cool. Let's move into today's topics. We're going to the board this week. Last week's, unusable episode. This week, so much has been going on the board that there's actually stuff that I think is worth talking about and discussing. Let's jump straight in. And one of the topics that's getting a lot of hits is lip syncing. How can you support this? I'd just like to get everyone's thoughts on that. For those of us that have gone to shows, how do we justify it? If it's, in the case, is anyone here going to deny it's happening? I don't think so. There's certainly tape being used. I'm not afraid to admit that. For myself, I'm going to say when I'm spending that amount on tickets, I want a good show. So I'm perfectly fine with it. That's the only justification I need in my head. I don't want to see anyone screaming like an injured cat. And paying for the privilege of doing so. So I rationalize it in my head as if it's the best way to get a show done at this stage, then I have no problem with it. Daniel, what would be your thoughts on that whole kind of topic?
Well, I have to second that opinion a bit. To me, I think it's the only band I would go and see that the only band I could accept this from, just because I like them so much. I mean, the Motley Crue tour is around the corner, and I guess they might need some help as well, but that won't interest me the same way, I think. The show I went to, I consciously did not look a lot at Paul during the concert. I didn't want to see it. And I managed to I didn't think about it during the show, actually. A few beers could have something to do with it as well, but I didn't think of it that much. I focused on Jean more, and the show was great. And but in reality, Kiss has been using smoke and mirrors for decades, in some shape or form, and we've all accepted the things they've done. I mean, if you compare the way they move, the way they jump around the stage, have a look at Animalize Live Uncensored from '84 and compare it, it's nowhere near. And it's really been that way, maybe even since the reunion tour. It's been another sort of band than it was previously. It's a lot about nostalgia. And if you accept that, I think you can accept the lip syncing as well, even though I didn't think I would be able to do it, but it worked when I saw them live. I'm thinking of seeing them another time this summer when they come to Stockholm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you've got a few more shows in your neck of the wood coming up that are possibilities, and they're clustered pretty well for, the Scandinavian fans to do multiple shows, the German fans to do multiple shows, and I think well, that's it, really. Really the two areas of Europe where the fans generally exist. Mark, I don't think you've even gone to a show, but as a working musician, as someone who creates, are you offended by it, or do you see another side of the coin?
Well, I'm going to start with this. If I remember correctly, and if you go back maybe about 50 or 60 episodes ago, I was the one who started this. I started this whole denial about saying that he was the one using backing tracks and that he was using sampled vocals. At first, everyone's like, they didn't believe it at first, but hey, I'm going to pat myself on the back. Knowing full well how this technology works, because I've seen it used lots of times before by other bands in situations from as far back as like years before, there were telltale signs, obviously. Now, I'm going to agree with Julian on one end of it. If I'm paying $100 and some odd for a ticket, the last thing I want to hear is him with a horsed out voice, sounding like he gargled nails before he went on stage, and singing like that. I want to hear a decent show. And I know he can perform still well on guitar and everything, and that's never been a question. Musically, they're a fantastic band still. It's just he has issues vocally. So do I want it to be ruined by that? No. I mean, that's the guy who has the wallet in his pocket talking. Now, the guy who comes out and who's the musician his reaction is going to be like, what the fuck, man? This guy can't sing anymore. Like, people like much older than him can sing well still. I mean, look at Steven Tyler and all these other guys who can still put on decent shows, you know? I mean, there's lots of people that I've seen that are, you know, look, at least they're not doing backing tracks. Let's just put it that way. They're going out there, they're doing their thing, and that's
Aren't they? Aerosmith's been using tracks for decades. Go back to Permanent Vacation Tour, and they were doing samples and shit. So he sounds like he's strangling a cat half the time anyway, even though that's his natural singing style.
Okay, but there are bands out there that still go up there and do their things without it. Okay,
David Coverdale's a good example.
Glenn Hughes.
Yeah, there you go. See, I mean, you guys can pick out, I'm sure, dozens of people who still do it, right? But like I said, I want to see a good show too. And so obviously I don't mind it as much because of that, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not against that totally, because one of my favorite bands in the whole world, they use backing stuff for music. I mean, Rush on their Test for Echo tour had second guitar stuff on backing tracks that they played to a click to because they had so much guitar overdubbed on some of these records. They had to do it, otherwise it sounded like there was like half the song was missing, you know. So I don't hate the technology. It's just I guess I'm one of those guys that, you know, if there's a strong reason to use it, fine. If not, then why use it? You know, I mean, Motley Crue will have every reason to use it now. I mean, Vince is, you know, not in great shape to sing, so I wouldn't be surprised if they use it. And I think they have used backing tracks, especially on backing vocals, for years. I know that's true, but whatever. Like I said, if I'm going to spend that much money, yeah, I don't think I would mind it so much.
Yeah, Vince Happy Meal and his tracks for half the words. No, actually, he's down to a third of the. I love Motley Crue, by the way. Some of my favorite shows I went to were Motley Crue. But over the past 10 years, his performances have been shite, utter crap, and I felt offended paying for them. Ken, bring some reason into this discussion.
Well, going back to before, it was like over a year ago, last August or somewhere around there, we had a episode and we talked about, you know, lip syncing. Well, is it going to happen? Or, you know, well, Kiss do a tour and so on. And I remember saying that I think if they did a tour, they would have to use tracks because the way Paul was singing at that time was not good. So they obviously did it, and it's working. And, you know, I went to that one show in Sacramento so far, and it was fantastic. I had a great time. I mean, not everyone has backing tracks in the band or anything. It's just Paul. And if you saw a little bit of the Tokyo thing that just happened recently, you could see when Paul's, you know, screaming or talking in between some of the songs, his voice there's no way he could have been singing. There's no way. So I think it's a good idea. And again, most of the people at those shows are fair weather fans that are coming out. They're just not all Kiss fans. They're fans that have, you know, oh, it's the last tour, I got to go see them. You know, I never went out and saw Kiss, or I heard them, you know, their one song on the radio. I might as well go to their concert. So yeah, I think it's okay. It's okay and it works. People have a good time. I had a great time, and I'm a Kiss fan going way, way back, and I don't have a problem with it.
You have to keep in mind a Kiss concert is so much more than the actual performance nowadays. At least for us Kiss fans. I mean, the whole gathering before the concert,
experience,
meeting fans, the experience. It's. I think I had more fun this year than probably even when I went to the reunion tour, because of all the fans, because of the community, because of the Kiss Army. So that's a big, big part of Kiss these days. I mean, to me, that's a real big part of the experience, and something that I really look forward to every time I go and see Kiss. It was the same when I went to see Gene Simmons. I mean, the pre-party with other guys. I mean, that's fantastic. It's almost like being religious, I guess, if I was religious. I mean, you have the same belief, and you feel the unity, sort of. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, the congregation is gathering for holy communion of Kisstianity and going to be drinking from Jean's blood cup.
But it's the same thing.
But it's about show business. And I think that's always been the things that you have to separate: show, business. It is about money. But when we went to Vancouver, I went to Vancouver, and Paul, his raps, he could barely introduce songs, and then you heard good songs being performed, and I'm saying being performed specifically rather than being sung. And they've worked Tommy and Eric so much more into the vocals, and Jean's done so much more vocalizing and backgrounds to try and support the whole machine, that they really tried everything that they could. But we go back to 2017, and when I went to Reno for that show, I was like, holy shit, this is just, I tried to be positive and spin it then, but you really get to a point where you know why they're doing the end of the road tour. You know why they're doing this now, and they're going all out to give everyone the happiest ending that you can receive from a non-Balinese specialist. Would you like your happy ending, sir? Yes, please. And can you use tape? All right, that's probably a bad segue into another topic. So, Jean, and I mean, one of the things that people suggested on the board, again, all these topics today are coming from the message board, pretty much.
I think you could actually say who's come up with a topic. It's kind of interesting to hear who it is.
Who started?
Who started the?
It might be some returning band user whose name I'm watching and don't want to draw attention to.
Oh, okay.
And because we use aliases and not real names on the board, which is something I hate, but it is what it is. It's like CB radios in the 70s. I feel like an idiot saying butt fart 49.
Breaker.
Came up with this topic. Let's move into the next part, though. This was another kind of, it was a topic on the message board in the past week, and it was, should Jean assume more vocal duties? And I take that to read, what more can Jean do? I mean, he's already doing a lot more singing of vocals than he ever did, making for a very interesting listening experience for me, as someone who collected the bootlegs for many years. What more can he do? Do you put more Jean songs in? Well, Paul's still a member of the band and is not going to let that balance to go out of whack, is he? So, Ken, back to you for should Jean do more? I mean, come on, Jean. Stop being so lazy.
While I'd like to have more Jean songs, I understand that's really not a possibility with the partnership with Paul. But having said that, they could insert a couple of more, a Tommy song and another Eric Singer, add a couple of more of those, let them take the vocals on a couple of other songs that we don't hear that often. I mean, I'd love to have more Jean songs because I love all the Jean songs, but I know that's just can or won't happen. In while Paul's there, so Pete, I almost said Peter. Eric or Tommy should give him another song each.
Yeah,
Mark.
Well, I agree. They're not going to upset that precious balance of songs between Paul and Jean, but what I think they maybe could do, that one might make people happy, is why don't we pull in some different Jean songs? Keep the same amount of songs that Jean does to make the balance equal, but bring in some of the songs that he doesn't do very often, like do once in a while a Burn Bitch Burn, or do something that we haven't heard in a long time, just even if it's one song. I mean, I'm sure they can get away with one really odd song that the whole audience is not going to clear out from one song, so but change it up a bit. Put some other songs on there that he hasn't done in a long while. I think that would kind of make his fans a little bit more happy too, to say, hey, he's not only singing the usual stuff, now he's singing something different. Like, wouldn't that be odd if they actually came out and played like Spit or something? that would be something really odd to do in makeup, you know.
Interesting.
But you know, it's something different, and I think it'd make those hardcore Kiss fans that go there say at least, wow, well at least they're doing something different now. You know, we can't expect Paul to sing less, and yeah, maybe we can give Tommy and Eric a song here or there, but we know what songs they'll do. That's already predictable. You know, it's not like they're gonna say to Tommy, "You're gonna do Torpedo Girl tonight." You know that's not gonna happen, right? So, but why not just give Jean some different songs from the catalog?
Yeah, big enough. It's like really big catalog, big like Gymnasium. Daniel, your thoughts on making Jean work more for his paycheck?
The problem is Paul is singing on Spade as well, so you can't do that one. You know, they trade vocals. But other Jean songs, he has a lot of great tunes that they could play, of course. But I wouldn't want to. I'm on the other end of the stick when it comes to this. I mean, I know Ken is a big Jean fan. He's a fan of the Jean songs. I'm on the other end. I like the Paul songs. So I would not like to trade away the Paul songs, even though he's not singing them. I still want to hear Heavens on Fire. I want to hear Lick It Up, all those kind of stuff that I grew up on. I would like to hear Tears Are Falling. I would like to hear Crazy Nights. I like all that stuff. So I don't want to have more Jean's songs if you take away Paul's songs.
But what if they change the Jean songs? What if they do Fits Like a Glove? Wouldn't you be happy?
Yes, I would. I would be real happy, but
what's his favorite song?
Yeah, I guess that won't happen. But that would be a better choice than Spit.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because they listen to these shows and they won't do anything that we'd say are our favorites. So
larger than life, yeah.
At times it seems like that's the case. Yeah.
Well, okay. So I'm going to say, Gene already works hard. You know, the man is worth a deuce. What more can he do? What more should he do? Come on, the guy's 70. You know, let's get realistic here. I like the idea of making Tommy and Eric work harder. No, I like the idea of hearing more from them. I also like the idea of pissing people off. I do it regularly. So I think Tommy doing Rocket Ride would be fantastic, a way to get people talking. I mean, come on, generate press, get people talking about it. Or, have Tommy going through Ace's catalog, talk to me. Rocket Ride. Rocket Ride was a top 40 hit. Yeah, payola, big deal. Let's see how he can, maybe do some more of Bob's solos. That doesn't generate that much press. It's My Life. Sell the vault. I mean, surely that needs to keep moving. Throw in It's My Life. All four of them can trade off on the vocals like the originals did on, that recording, and that takes off the, the load from Gene and Paul. Maybe let just Tommy and Eric do the vocals on it, and Gene can just come in during the chorus, whatever. There are so many ways to kind of do it, and also sell product. Again, I'm always stunned that, they've got these Kissterias and they don't seem to, do much mentioning any of it in concert. It's just very disappointing from that point of view. I wanted to talk about that Kissteria thing. I mean, now that we get to the bottom of the barrel, they sign copies. Well, why didn't they sign 100 copies and mix them in randomly into the stock to begin with as a way to get people, just stupid stuff like that. Randomly insert signed copies into the stock of stuff they sell through the Kiss Online store. Have it all packaged up in such a way that the people packing it can't, pick favorites, so that Mark Cicchini gets all the signed copies for his collection, stuff like that. And Julian gets none. I'd like to see them do that, but I'd also like to see them continuing to do merchandise during this tour. We've just had a great tour video of the merch stand in Japan and the 7-hour lines for that stuff, where it's just insane. The Tokyo Dome show and everything that went on there. Why aren't they doing more stuff while they're doing Kissteria and doing 30 copies signed? Why aren't they doing a mini version of it on CD with those mixes have still not been released, doing a little mini road case with all the copies of the CDs in it, some copies signed by Gene and Paul, and, buy it by mail order, direct. Universal's doing so much of that stuff now. They're missing the boat. But I wanted to talk about merchandise. It's too easy for me to go off on a tangent after a couple of sips of whiskey. And Tokyo, yesterday, the videos are now out. They finally had a special guest join them on stage. I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on Yoshiki. I mean, the guy is a legend. Massive legend in Japan. And they had him come up and play piano. So for the first time this tour, Eric didn't have to pretend that he was playing Beth. Someone who actually knew which pedals do what on a piano was up there, and the whole band was obviously out on stage. And then Yoshiki also went up behind Eric's drum. Hey, wait, what's this? He fucked with Eric. 2 songs. Took Eric's shtick away from him for Beth, and also the drums on Rock and Roll All Night, the end of the show culmination. Poor, what are they going to do next? Have a guitarist take Tommy's guitar and do a couple of songs? But what do you guys think of that, Mark? Yoshiki, obviously Kiss My Ass, he was on there. X is a big band. What are your thoughts on it?
I think it was kind of cool, actually, because Kiss is one of those bands that very rarely ever has had somebody come up on stage with them, right? So this makes it a sort of a rare appearance, and for people who were there at the show, it makes them feel extra special because they were there. They could say, I was there at a show that had somebody come up on stage. And, like you said, the guy's a legend, right? And, obviously the piano playing is fantastic. So instead of sitting there, rolling your eyes saying, yeah, he's not really playing that damn piano, now we know that we have a solid player up there doing it. And I think that it probably made the song all the better for it. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't catch the whole video. I've been going here and there looking around and stuff, so I haven't seen the full performance. But I mean, what he did on the Kiss My Ass compilation with the Black Diamond song was fantastic. So, he's obviously a talented musician. So, bringing somebody up like that, that's got to tell you something right there too. I mean, Kiss wouldn't bring just anybody up. The fact that they brought him up shows how much respect they had for him, number one. And, they were probably confident enough that he would go up there and do a great performance of the song with them, which he did.
Yeah, great. And what did he do on Kiss My Ass? Was it Black Diamond?
Black Diamond.
Black Diamond,
yeah.
Ken, what are your thoughts on Yoshiki?
Yeah, I think it was great. And like Mark said, Kiss is, so... what do you want to say? They don't go out of their box at all, and this is something that they never do. Have someone on stage with them. So it was very cool. I saw both videos. I saw the Beth video, which is cool. Him playing the piano and Eric standing next to him singing, and then the drums. I think it's probably the first time they've had 2 drum sets on stage, because they were both playing drums, and they were playing together as drums. And then at one point, Eric's singer kind of stops, and Yoshiki is still drumming away, and then he comes back in and continues. And I thought that that's really cool that they did that. And so yeah, they have obviously a lot of respect for that artist, and I think it was a cool thing for the fans of Japan.
Yeah, one of the things that I immediately thought of is they were showing Japan a great deal of respect. Obviously for a country that is very big on manners and behavior, and the cultural side that, as Westerners, we can't really fathom. It's just amazing that they have finally had a guest, and of course it was in Japan, and it was Yoshiki, and it was in Tokyo, and it was on 2 very important songs in the set. So I thought that was very cool from that perspective. Daniel, what were your thoughts on it?
Well, I think the bond between Kiss and Japan has always been special, and this is just another way of showing it. And I like anything to shake things up, so I think it was a good idea. And I especially like the Kiss tie-in with the Kiss My Ass record. That's one of the few songs that actually listenable on that album.
Yeah.
So that's a good tie-in with Kissteria, so to speak. I think it was a cool thing, just as the other guy said.
Yeah, and like Ken mentioned, they haven't had too many people join them on stage ever before, have
Joe
they?
Perry,
Joe Perry, Phil Colonoscopy, the journalist. God, what's her name? I should know this. Cream.
Oh,
I was
Winooski. Is it Jan or something?
Jan Uleski.
Yeah.
Uleski. Okay.
Yeah, that was very cool, and that's all I can think of off the top of my head in makeup. So, and they don't really jam.
Yeah.
So, very cool. All right, let's move on into some more of the topics. I think Ken, you chimed in. Did we? No, we covered that. The last 30 Kissteria sets. So
yeah.
There was also a poll this week. Which Kiss King is your pick as your favorite? King of the Nighttime World, King of the Mountain, or King of Hearts? Daniel, which is your king?
Well, it sure as hell it ain't King of Hearts, but the other two are great songs. But I'd have to go with King of the Mountain because that's probably my favorite song from the 80s. The dynamic drumming from Eric Carr, the awesome vocals from Paul Stanley, and great lyrics, but at least great Kiss lyrics,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the king of the mountain, standing on top of, all that kind of stuff. So that's a perfect Kiss song, perfect album opener and everything. So I'd pick that one.
That's a good pick. Mark, you're going to pick Destroyer, of course.
How did you know? How did you know I was going to pick that? No, I always right away when I saw that topic. Actually, I immediately went for King of the Mountain. Of course, that's my favorite song. It's my favorite, Kiss non-makeup album. So, yeah, King of the Mountain is easily, and I've said this numerous times, is probably one of the best opening songs that Kiss has ever put on an album.
Wow.
Second that.
Wow. Ken.
Yeah, for me, it's King of the Nighttime World.
What? Sacrilege.
I'm sorry, guys, but yeah, I like that better than King of the Mountain. Actually, I like it a lot better than King of the Mountain. Even though it's a great King of the Mountain's a great lead-off song, of course, on the album, but I just think going back in the Nighttime World works great. I mean, I heard it first on the live too. That's where I heard it. So that's the song that sticks out for me. Now, King of Hearts, I don't even want to mention. I do not like that song. That's one of my least favorite songs on. It's one of my least favorite songs on Hot in the Shade. So it's got to be another King song that's better than that. But anyway.
It's Bruce Kulick's birthday today, and a kitten just died when you said that.
Well, happy birthday, by the way. But yeah, I mean, it's just that song grates on me for some reason. I don't know what it is.
That's actually what I actually really like it. It was one of those songs on the album that I thought was one of the better ones. If we were to lop 5 songs off it, I think that one might actually survive. Now I'm going to have to go back and check my rankings that I've done on this album on the lipstick panel and the one that we did and see if it was on, anywhere on there. But right now, off the top of my head, I'm with Daniel and Mark and King of the Mountain just because of what Asylum means to me. That was my first album. So when I go back, it actually is like being a 14-year-old again, as much as we laugh at that concept sometimes online. You know what? When I went down to Kmart on my birthday that year and bought, Theater of Pain and Asylum, got home, put that in the deck, and...
Yeah. Who's leading the poll? Is it King of... I guess it's King of the Nighttime World.
King of the Nighttime World. Come on, it's classic Kiss. Of course, it's going to win.
It's classic.
Yeah.
But it's a cover, and
it is a cover.
They didn't. They
cover, yeah.
We talked about that in the episode that didn't air last week. They bought it and they transformed it from mundane into spectacular. You can see exactly what Bob Ezrin and Paul Stanley brought to that song. You go online now and listen to the Hollywood Stars version of it, and you're like, well, it's good, but it's not like first song on a Kiss album good, which. It wasn't first song, second song.
Kiss made it their own. I mean, they really did.
Yeah, so I mean, these three kings are great songs. All three of them for me. So but I'll go with Asylum just because of that bombastic Eric Carr. Makes me think of him every time I play Asylum, and it's also for me, it's one of the very best opening tracks on any Kiss album. And there's only a few albums where I think they've got killer opening tracks. So
have we ever ranked the opening songs? That would be a cool episode.
We'll have to, or there'll be another podcast doing it now. I mean, someone may be.
It would be real fun to do because there's a lot of good ones.
Yeah, we'll have to try and narrow it down maybe into our top 10 Kiss opening tracks rather than every single album because that'll just become a little bit too turgid with some of those. So top 10 Kiss opening tracks coming soon to a podcast near you. I want to move into another topic. Speaking of other podcasts, Kiss My Collectibles finally, you lazy bastards, put out an episode this week, and they did their top 5 essential sentimental Kiss items in our collections. And that just seemed like a very good one, not to do your 5, but the item that you own that immediately jumps into your heart when I say that sentence. What is the one item in your collection that means the most to you? Is not your most expensive necessarily, is not the one that you went through the most arduous trip to obtain? Ken, what's your...
That's really hard. I want to say, and there's a few things that I would maybe put on that list, and one may be the Gene Simmons pick from the Creatures of the Night tour, where I saw them in San Francisco, or maybe the Gene Simmons, the half a shell of his boot cover there. That was part of the Gene Simmons, vault. So it's kind of hard. It's also, my, even something like the lunchbox. I mean, I got that way back. So there's so many things. It's really hard, but it could be just having my first Kiss concert ticket stub still. I mean, for the Dynasty show. I mean, that I'll look at it and just always have great memories of the lead up to that and the actual day where everything is pretty vivid to me for that day of what happened, except for the show where it was kind of a blur. I think I was so excited about it, but otherwise I still do remember certain things and a lot of things that happened around that show. So that was a special thing for me.
Nice, great selection of items here. So before I forget, let's do the giveaway for this. So if you want to win a copy of the 10th anniversary Ace Frehley Anomaly from E1 Entertainment. Also comes obviously with a sealed copy of the double yellow vinyl edition. Just email me at KissFAQ@outlook.com and you're gonna just you're gonna mention, let's see, I'll tell you at the end of the show what you have to mention. Mark.
Okay. So there's quite a few things that I have that mean things to me, but I'm going to show one thing that means a lot to me. Number one, because this item is pretty hard to find at a price that isn't ridiculous, I find, for some reason. And more importantly, I got this from a good friend. And that good friend is actually with us right now on this podcast. Mr. Keenan sent me this.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this, I remember when I actually first mentioned this and I showed this on the podcast before, I got quite a few people who were actually messaging me. They're like, really? He just gave you that? You didn't have to pay some huge money for it? And I'm like, well, no, I didn't. You know, he surprised me with it when I bought a record off him, I believe. I think I bought the colored vinyl Revenge, and then you snuck that in there with it. And I was like, oh, thanks, Ken. You know, like it was a really cool thing for Ken to do. I mean, Ken's that kind of a guy. He's very cool. He's a generous guy. He's a good friend. Somebody I'm happy to call a friend, just like Julian and just like Daniel, you know. And when you're friends, you do that kind of stuff, you know. And I'm very pleased to say that, you know, Ken sent this to me. And it is one of my cherished things that I have in my collection because I know how difficult it is to find something like this. And I mean, this is in great condition. I've seen people who had them in their collection look like they were washing their rear ends with it before or something.
Using it for dishes, washing
Yeah,
dishes.
you know what I mean? Like it was in worse shape than I've ever imagined, you know? So I'm very glad that, you know, Ken sent that to me. And, you know, and also Julian too. He sent me stuff that I'm very pleased to have, like some of his fantastic books that I have. You know, I mean, I gotten, you know, once a copy from him, you know, as a thank you, and I'm really happy that I got it. You know, and it's those kind of things that make it special to me because they are coming from a person that I consider a good friend and that we have a lot in common and we do this podcast together. So that's what makes it special. The money part of it, I could care less if somebody says, oh, that sponge, you could get $300 or whatever ridiculous for it. I don't care. I mean, it's what's important is who gave it to me and what it meant when I got it.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I fought for that. I fought for those sponges
Thank
when
you, Ken.
when the disco ball opened at the end of the show, and I was not too far from it on the floor, and all of a sudden things, you know, I wasn't expecting to happen. It's like, what the hell is going on, you know? And these things are falling down, and it's like, oh, you know, it's like, oh crap, you know, and everyone's, you know, just grabbing at stuff. And where I said, you know, I told the story of I was grabbing so many, trying to grab so many, and I remember some girl, or I forget, but she stepped on my hand on purpose because she didn't want me to grab another one, you know. But I said, okay, you can have it, you know. But yeah, I had a few. I still have a couple left of those, fortunately. But yeah, I share the with you, and I appreciate the comments, Mark. You know, you're a friend too. A good friend. You know, we have a good time with this stuff and our other podcasts that we do sometimes when we get around to it.
Yeah, which we have to do soon.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. Guys, get on with it. Want to have those. No, very, very cool story, Mark. That hits the nail on the head. All right, Daniel, you've had a lot of time to think about this.
Well, I also appreciated getting a book from Julian. That was a nice touch.
Yes.
And it's the one I like the best, the one about the solo albums. A real cool book. But other than that, to me, it's always been about the music. And I was never that big into buying Kiss merchandise. Of course, when I was a teenager, I bought a lot. But nowadays, I have other things to like tomorrow I'm going to buy a snowmobile.
Oh,
That's
nice.
stuff like I put my money on these days. But back in the day, if I think of it, at times I go back to my Kiss stuff and I put my fingers on special items and I kind of finger it a little bit and put it away. It always feels cool, and it's like going on a journey back to the early days. It's actually the first Kiss cassette, the first Kiss cassette
nice.
I ever bought. Yeah, and as I said previously, I got the Asylum and Animalize at the same time, but the Animalize album, the cassette of that one, oh, I like that one. So I
Nice.
have a look at it at times, and you know. It's not worth anything money-wise, but to me it's always special. it was the gateway into Kiss and all this craziness. So it's always been special to me. It's really cool looking. It's silver, and that's my favorite thing.
Nice. I think the memories are a really good thing to stress, and the things that we've received from friends. Last year, I received a really, actually in person, and then one in via post. The Australian lithographs that were done for the Gene Simmons solo tour.
That's nice.
And also the Ace Frehley solo tour, which I had framed up. They're great pieces of art in themselves, and to have been gifts from friends just mean the world to me. But I think my most cherished item is likely based on a memory. I haven't kept a lot of my ticket stubs. I used to sell them off in batches just because I had no use for them. I think the memory of Peter Criss's cutting room experience is represented by a t-shirt that I wear a lot. Because after that event, I had taken a picture of the drums being ripped down, and they were stacked bass, tom, and snare in a pile. And with the lighting still coming off it, it made for a beautiful effect. So I had my photo of that blown up and put on a black t-shirt with the last Chris. I was there, cutting room. And when I wear that t-shirt, I always think of that event. I always think of the people who I was with that day, who I interacted with, the performance itself and the music, and seeing Moochie have a song dedicated to her, that he hadn't done at the Australian one, and the conversations that I had with Scott at my table, and the many other fans who I know online who were there, and we all shared in something very special, absolutely spectacular, and incredibly amazing. So that t-shirt, I'd made copies on Teespring and said, I made them available to other people. I've never seen anyone order one, so I think mine's probably the only one. It's starting to fall apart now, so I need to, get another one so that I can continue to wear it. I don't keep a lot of the t-shirts that I've made. I saw, our friends on Three Sides were laughing about the cesspool t-shirts that I had made. I had like 10 made. And I ended up throwing some of them out at shows. So someone probably got hit in the head with a cesspool t-shirt. I don't even have one. But this Peter Criss t-shirt I will make again. The Shakara ones I don't care about. I wear Odyssey a lot as well.
So do I.
Because I happen to. But that Peter Criss one, because it gives me all the warm and fuzzy memories that I need from. That's my number one Kiss event. It always will be now. I can't see them topping it in any way. Just one of those things. If it's a material thing, then it's easy. It's the 1974 promo poster from the Kissteria box set that I went on a mission to get signed in 2017. That's one of the only things I still have. I've had so much cool stuff come through my hands. I mean, the Stanley the Parrot acetate, it meant so much to me that I rapidly tried to sell it and eventually did. So I think it's better to have an item that I value for the emotional value. Rather than any possible monetary. Because I'm sure there's some Kiss shit around here that's worth a fair amount. It'll end up in Goodwill when I'm dead for 50 cents. And stuff like sponges, which you fought for and had your hand stamped on, that were an important part of your show. And for Mark, that's a gift to him. I mean, those are really kind of the things, rather than auction wins or stuff that you can buy. And snow machines sound really fucking fun. I haven't been on one in years. Yeah, we used to do a lot of snowmobiling. So thank you, Daniel, for mentioning those. Cool stuff. Do any of you guys have some topics that you want to just introduce in the last few minutes? And actually, before I let you guys talk,
Ace.
Yeah, the Ace album. So if you want to get entered into the random drawing, just tell me which record label it's on. Ace is currently signed to, in an email to KissFAQ@outlook.com. I was going to come up with something more annoying, but I'll just go with that. Mark, you were going to say.
Actually, I was going to come up with an annoying question, too. So you beat me to it.
What was your annoying question?
Oh no, I was gonna say like to win the T-shirt. I was gonna say what was on Julian's favorite T-shirt. What does it say?
It says pull. Yes.
Yeah,
so you don't have a topic for me? Well, let's see what else is on the board.
You just have to get a hold of Alan, because I think he was at the Japan show, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Pretty soon, I want to hear his take on it. So you need to get a hold of him if you can.
Yeah,
I've got to have him on Facebook, and he's
actually
returned.
There is one thing that's actually interesting to take a look at. I haven't checked it out yet, but I'm wondering if any of you guys have seen this on the board. There was a topic about Warren Hewitt. I don't know if you guys know that guy, the producer guy. He put up a post just recently on his channel on the YouTube saying that how he played guitar with Ace Frehley, and he went through this whole thing about how he worked on, I think it was Rock and Roll Hell or something, on Origins with him, and he also talks about Space Invader, and he goes through this video and he shows like a guitar that Ace signed to him, and he goes through a bunch of Kiss memorabilia that he got from Ace on there. So I'm gonna watch it because I haven't watched it yet, but apparently it's a pretty cool video in regards to the making of Origins and Space Invader. So if you guys are interested in that, it's on the board.
I also saw Ace booked a few dates in Sweden this summer, so I might have to go and see him. He's at Gröna Lund and some other places, some festival, not too far from here, so I might go and check that out.
When was the last time he came?
Last time he came to Sweden?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a few years ago, but he seems to come here quite regularly. So here he is. He's here from time to time, but yeah.
Yeah, that was a good video, actually. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but judging by people's responses to it, it is worth checking out. So check out on the board if you don't know where it is. Really interesting video about recording Origins Volume 1 with Ace Slash and others. And it's the website is producelikeapro.com. Yeah. Where that can be found. So, yeah, and speaking of Ace, he's doing his last 3 dates of the year from tonight. And I don't know, I think they're Midwest, but I have no idea. You have to look on his site for where they are if you're interested in seeing them, or if you're even able to. All right, let's leave that there for this week. That's a good bunch of diverse topics. Remember, there's a question embedded in this show of winning a signed copy of Ace's 10th anniversary Anomaly double yellow vinyl LP. That's a mouthful. That's awesome. Everything should be complex to actually say. Think about some of these topics that we've discussed this week. Which one of the 3 kings is your favorite? Should Gene do more? Should Gene get off his ass and actually help the band out? Are you okay being a hypocrite and dissing Britney and Milli Vanilli if Kiss's Memorex is providing a best entertainment value for your hard-earned dollars? Or do you want to go to a live cat strangling session with pyro? Tune in and let us know what you think, because we do love having discussions with you, and what we do appreciate is that they've been respectful on YouTube and elsewhere. Very few trolls. We appreciate the thoughts, especially people who write long explanations of their thoughts and how we're wrong. It's totally fair. We'd love it. It's very much appreciate the time that you take to listen to our show and to comment on it. So for now, for Mark, for Ken, Daniel, and myself, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time, if this managed to record. Bye for now. Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we've broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.